Hey, good morning, freshmen. Today, Thursday, May 14th, you're going to be focusing on Chapter 3 of Mice and Men. It's a lengthy chapter, and I'm going to give you more time to complete this, but a lot of you are hooked on the characters and the plot, and you're predicting things, so I wish you nothing but luck with this particular story. Let's go through Chapter 2, because some of you had some questions on some things with Chapter 2. Chapter 2. So the first question in chapter 2 is who is the last guy that was just quit the way the guy will and what or quit the way a guy will and what does that show us about the lifestyle? We don't really know who the guy is. We don't really know about his name, and that's not important. It's just the fact that he up and quits and leaves on it might have been the food, it might have been the workload. But what that shows is that the ranch is dangerous, unpleasant. The people are fluid, relationships aren't critical. So it's just to kind of give you an idea of what the lifestyle of the of living in that bunkhouse would be. So the second question had to do with what did the boss give to the men? This part of the story always makes me a little bit uncomfortable because not about the alcohol. So anyway, they get a big gallon of whiskey for Christmas, and all the men get drunk, and they seem to have a good time. But their good time has to do with encouraging men to have a physical fight, particularly um, the black man, and then that's when the N word is used multiple times, and it's kind of an ugly little scene. But again, it shows you that the world that Lenny and George are entering, that it's tough. It's tough. Question 3. We get to meet Curly, um, who is the boss's son. Notice we don't ever get to know the boss's name, but Curly, with his curly hair, he and Lenny, there is going to be a conflict, and they interact, I think, 3 or 4 times in the chapter. But the very first time when he comes in, the Swamper, later we find out the Swamper's name is Candy, but he has that story or that theory that small men like to pick fights with big men because, say, the big man beats up the small man, then the small man gets sympathy from people. More than likely, the big man will not beat up the small man because what would be the fight in that? So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, and the little guy can just keep antagonizing the big guy. The other advantage Curly has is that he is the boss's son. So it's not only does he have little man syndrome, is what I've always called it, but he's got power on the ranch because that's why the big boss wore the boots and the little guy's wearing the boots. It's just to show you that they're connected. And yeah, Curly is a big man on that ranch. Curly's wife, we don't know her name yet, but so I'm asking you why they married. Well, I think the most obvious answer is she's purty. And we don't get her name, but oh, look at the names that she's called: tramp, tart, bitch, rat trap, all kinds of things. And she's definitely flirtatious, and she likes the attention from the men. The irony, when I ask you about what's irony about the decision for Curly and this young lady to get married, is that whoever married this young woman is going to be fighting a lot because she's flirtatious with her actions. So now we got a little guy who's going to be having a lot of confrontations over jealousy or defending his wife, that sort of thing. Lulu. Lulu is Slim's dog, and she has a litter of pups. This is another part of the story where it just shows us how tough life is on the ranch. So Slim drowns, I don't know how many, it was a big litter, so he drowns enough just so Lulu will have enough milk to feed the remaining pups. And again, it's sad, but it makes sense because otherwise other um, so that's the significance of that story, which then leads us to Candy's dog. This is when we finally know that Candy has a name. So the Swamper, the man with the stump arm and the old dog, and he's sweeping up, that's Candy. And so he's the man with the old dog. Carlson, big guy that walks in, wants Slim to give Candy one of his pups so he can get rid of that old dog that stinks. Last question I had for you is about which one character do you like best? I'm tied. I think most of you are going to pick Slim, and I think Slim is a logical choice. Slim is noble. He shows integrity. He's respected by the people. He doesn't seem intimidated by Curly. In fact, he gives Curly's wife just that enough attention so she's appeased, but not enough where a conflict is going to happen between Curly and Slim. But the character I really like, and it's a very minor thing, but it's the boss, Curly's dad, and all they call him is the boss. And when he first introduces George and Lenny to, questions them on why they were late and that sort of thing, one, he asked tough questions, and the most important question I think he asked was when he questioned George on his intentions with Lenny. He assumed that George was making Lenny do work and then George was keeping his pay because Lenny's not the brightest bulb. And to ask that tough but fair question shows that he's got integrity and he's kind of protecting Lenny, or at least he wants things to be fair. So it's a very small thing, but I really admire that in the boss. And again, we don't know his name. All right, that is chapter 2. Enjoy chapter 3. If you struggle with questions, you can shoot me an email. I'm giving you till Saturday night to finish up the questions for chapter 3 because it's a longer chapter. And I'm not going to have you do a discussion question, where you have to post a video because I haven't graded the ones for chapter 2 yet. And so if I'm behind on grading, I might as well just slow down for you folks as well. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday.